Hello, and welcome to Sparks, a new series from the Boost community, a global community of immunization professionals. Throughout this series, we will surface elements of real-time immunization activities or programs that demonstrate innovation or adaptability. Each Spark will focus on unique or impactful solutions during pivotal moments that result in the increase of equitable vaccine access and demand in communities all over the world. Today, we are excited to highlight the work of Sohini Sanyal, a learning and capacity building specialist located in India. Sohini currently supports the content development and dissemination of Rapid Immunization Skill Enhancement, an interactive virtual tool to improve vaccinator capacity across India. Listen along as she shares about this virtual learning tool, some challenges that she faced, and her key lessons learned throughout the project. And with that, I'll pass it to Sohini.
My name is Sohini, and I'm speaking to you from India right now. First of all, thank you so much for, having me on this new series called Boost Sparks. I'm really excited to speak a little bit about our project, Rapid Immunization Skill Enhancement today. I am a learning and capacity building specialist, and my role in this project has been the content development and supervising e-learning modules, 5 of them that we have created for vaccinators here in India. So if we talk about a rapid immunization skill enhancement, it is a blended learning methodology that we have adopted. We use ICT technology in order to provide interactive, innovative, continuous learning for health workers in India, which complements the existing training system. The aim of this project is to also give them learning which will complement whatever they learn in their regular trainings. If I talk about how the content is disseminated and how it is accessed, then I have to tell you first about a learning management system that we created, which is a mobile app. We found out during our interaction with health workers that a large percentage of them use smartphones. So we decided to have a learning management system on the mobile phone. Now, we have 5 e-learning modules which were made using adult learning principles, human-centered design, and gamification, which really make it interactive and interesting. The basic components of each module, there is learning and interactive content. On the left, you will see 2 screenshots. Of course, the content is not just screenshots. It's in a very narrative style. There is a narrator who talks to them and takes them through each concept end to end. But you can just see some infographics here of how we talk about vaccines or how we talk about, important information. Now, after each logical section being covered, we also have knowledge recall. We have quizzes, we have games, and it helps us understand that the learner has gathered that knowledge and they're able to answer some questions correctly. It also helps us making the content interactive and not monotonous. So it's not continuous learning for them. Every once in a while, they will have something to do. They will have to give some input. They'll have to answer some questions. Or in this case, as you see, there's a game where if they answer each question correctly, they can take the shortest route. And if they can't, then, the gate doesn't open for them and they have to take a longer route to a certain place. And finally, have assessments in every module. Once they finish the content, they take the post-assessment. They also get a certificate. So you can see a photo at the bottom of the screen. And this certificate has been one of the most motivating factors for the success of the project. And, I'll touch upon that a little later. But this is the basic structure of the modules. So when we started doing this particular project, our first step was to conduct a capacity building needs assessment. And apart from knowledge and skill gaps, we also got a good amount of inputs and certain challenges with training overall. But one of the biggest challenges we face is that we have a huge number of health workers. You can see some of the health workers here. We have the auxiliary nurse and midwives who are the learners currently. We have the medical officers who are usually the supervisors, and we have community mobilizers who are called ASHAs. So if we have a new guideline or a new vaccine being introduced, it took a really long time to cover this large cohort. We wanted a training methodology that can disseminate learning rapidly to a large number of learners. And connecting to that, also refreshers. So these are certain challenges that we wanted to address through these modules, and also the flexibility of learning. It is really anytime, anywhere learning for these health workers. And we've actually seen on the learning management system that learners have logged in at midnight to take these courses because they've been really burdened with all the work of the pandemic, and it's been a very, very stressful time. But that has really been a great way of addressing this challenge of not making them travel, not making them have a particular day to go and take a training, keeping them away from work. Digital learning, online learning has been happening in a sporadic manner. However, I think the COVID-19 pandemic gave that impetus that was required to really consider online learning as a very important and integral way of learning. It was a coincidence that when we launched our first module in March 2020, that was when COVID was surging through the world and in India. So my first advice is that we need to manage our own assumptions and perceptions. We were worried that people will not take to technology, they will not take to this method of learning because they're used to classroom learnings, or they're used to instructors taking them through content, and they would not embrace self-learning, so to speak. We were particularly worried about elder vaccinators. We have vaccinators who are 50 years and more on the verge of retirement, and we thought that maybe they may not be so interested. But one thing that kept us, centered is that we realized that we have to look at how the content and the app is easy for them to use. And instead of burdening them, instead of making it a stressful activity, how do we make it accessible and simple for them? And the certificate, this is something that I would like to tell everybody. Think of the motivation. What is it that will bring them happily back to that app to learn? So they're really excited to share their certificates with their families and their colleagues, their supervisors. These are some of the things that we kept in mind, and our own perceptions have been shattered. One example of a learner who was on the verge of retirement, and she was the one who was completing all her courses the fastest. When we spoke to her, we realized that they are so touched that people are focusing on their knowledge and development, that even when she was about to retire, she said that, I still want to learn, and you've given me that opportunity. These are some of the things that I realized that, yes, make the content, make the platform as user-centric as possible. But we have our own way of thinking, sometimes because we do not like a particular way of training, for example. But that may not be the case with these people who still highly respect that training and knowledge that is brought to them. So if we keep an open mind to that, I'm sure many of the people who are listening to this will find it interesting and exciting to move to digital or online learning.